and with his government. Notwithstanding the fact that even before the handshake, I had that good cordial relationship. In fact, the handshake cemented that relationship. We have a by-election in Bonchari. It did happen that ODM and Jubilee have both got candidates. Once it happened, there was no going back, because it would have been impossible for either party to actually remove their candidate. And we have been campaigning under very difficult circumstances, with a lot of intimidation and with a lot of problems on the ground. Last night, I was having dinner with Mzee Ongeria, Madam Janet Ongera, the county MP, and the county MP for Migori, Pamela Odhiambo, in my house. Around 7:30, the police stormed in, about 50 of them, with a Tia Maria vehicle, and they actually broke down my gate and came in that I was having a meeting in my house before the curfew hours were over. I found it a very sad thing for this country, because I am not a governor by accident. I was appointed, I was elected by the people of Kisii County. Over 1.3 million people, they elected me. In fact, overwhelmingly, because the candidate who was number 2, I beat him by about over 100 votes. Over 100,000 votes. So what happened was an issue that when the police were asked, they said that they had been given instructions from somebody who is very senior in the office of in the Ministry of Interior. That is not the way to run a country. I have been a permanent secretary in the office of the president. I was in charge of personnel management for about 5 years for this country called Kenya. And I didn't see decisions taken like that, which are decisions that under normal circumstances should not be taken like that. We are a peaceful, loving country, and protocol should be followed, especially the house of the governor, where he's having his own private visitors, and then wrong information is given that he's having a meeting there. And police, over 50 officers, storm in and break down the governor's gate and get in, is something that should not be allowed in this country. I'm calling my president, whom I love very much, to put a stop to this, because the elections come and go. As leaders, we are all transitory. We stay in positions for a certain time and we move on, but the democratic institutions in this country must be maintained. I think I would want to stop there. I would ask Honorable Janet Ongera if you can come here and sit here and also say a few words. Thank you very much. I'll answer your questions later.
Members of the press, we are indeed very disturbed and shocked. We have been campaigning on the ground in Bonchari with my colleagues here, members of parliament who are here, and our Secretary General and ED, and our Senator and the Governor. What has shocked me that throughout this campaign, the teams that have been leading have been followed by police officers with armed to the teeth, with tear gases and truncheons, and tear gassing innocent women, pregnant women, and children. Yesterday, what saddened me is that a woman who was expecting fell down when she was tear gassed. This is not the way to look for votes. It is indeed shocking that they can even raid the house of the governor. What kind of politics is this? And myself, governor has been very polite I want to put it squarely. My friend Fred Matiangi, do not misuse your powers. When the state has given you powers, use them right. Do not misuse them. Campaign in a civil manner. If you are supporting your Jubilee candidate, come and walk about. Do house-to-door campaign the way we are doing it. Secondly, I am demanding from IBC to tell us why did they set up a by-election and they cannot allow us to do voter mobilization. Can the returning officer tell us? And thirdly, I am demanding from the government, whoever who is in charge of these security agencies, can you tell us why did you allow IBC to start a by-election when you knew there was COVID? Do not misuse COVID. There is a by-election going on where is that? In Juja. How come they are not chasing people away saying that there is COVID? A by-election was done in Msambweni. How come they never said there was COVID? In Matungu. How come there was no issue of COVID? And lastly, why is it that the Jubilee candidate Opore is 24-hour security and campaigning, including going at night, and is never arrested? Yet all these other candidates are being tackled every day. Thank you very much.
Members of the press. It's okay, it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Members of the press, it's very unusual of me to address the press. What I witnessed last night, a very humble dinner we were to have at the residence of the governor, and unknown to us, within the curfew hours, before the curfew hours, we'd not gone beyond 7:30 to 8. I hear a big bang on the door. The next thing was police officers coming to raid the residence of the governor. So I ask a very simple question. What were they coming to do? Is it not considered polite that you ring the governor of the county, and even if there was an allegation, tell him that we have heard about this, and give the governor the first chance to be able to tell you what it is? But storming a residence of a governor, a constitutionally elected governor, I find this to be totally obnoxious, to say the least. I've espoused peace. I preach peace, and I preach orderly society. I sat in Serena, and I asked, one of the things that we carried out in Serena is for this country to be governed under the rule of law. And the rule of law requires that you give a fair chance to both parties to express their opinion. I'm not a stranger to government. I've been a minister for many years. I've been an ambassador for more than 10 years. I've been a professor at the University of Nairobi. And I've respected authority throughout my life. And I will continue respecting the authority throughout my life. But when the authority goes beyond the excesses that I saw last night, that is totally unacceptable. It is totally unacceptable. You cannot come and disturb orderly people. This is a campaign period. The campaign window is still on until Saturday. And therefore, every candidate has a right to persuade voters to vote their direction. In this case, I have a right to persuade the voters to vote for my candidate, Engineer Omeke, whom I believe quite strongly he's in the lead. What I'm seeing now are maneuvers to try and create chaos, confusion, so that the voting can be compromised.
Sure.
It's not going to happen because I've been around, I've gone around, and the resolve of Bonchari people that I've seen in their faces, in their utterances, is going to shame them. Give the people of Bonchari their constitutional right to vote for the candidate of their choice. Yes. Don't try and maneuver and manipulate results. Yes. It's not, you may have a temporary relief that you've won, but I can assure you, in my experience, you have lost it all. Yes. Yes. You have lost it all because you must understand where people are coming from and where they're going. There are different seasons. Seasons when we must sit like now, and seasons when we must sit and relax. And we don't hate anybody. We love everybody. We want to work with everybody. But when you start putting your finger into my nose, then I must react. The only way I can react is to appeal to the voters of Bonchari that if you had any doubt, your candidate is Engineer Oimeke. If you had any doubt anywhere whatsoever, your candidate is Engineer Oimeke. Let us for once show Kenyans that we are a mature population in this Kisii land. And the decent thing we can do is to have decent elections. Absolutely. That's all we're asking for. And I know of other arrangements which I've had, I've seen, I've witnessed. Even when I drove here this morning, I received very critical information that manipulation of the voter turnout and the voting pattern is going to be manipulated. We are not cowards. We have been there in these elections before many times. We have won and we have lost. So we know the art of winning and the art of losing. So we're not strangers to these processes. So I appeal to the IBC, take charge of these elections. I appeal to the security forces. Ninyi ni watumishi kwa wote. Play your rightful role as watumishi kwa wote. Don't favor anybody, but ensure that there is a peaceful coexistence by every party. And I appeal to the electorate of Bonchari. Don't be upset even if they chase you from the line to come and vote. Insist that you want to vote for your candidate of your choice. God bless Kenya and God bless Kisii land. It's my pleasure to invite our Secretary General to read a statement.
Can you come and sit
Thank you very much, members of the press. First, let me begin by acknowledging the work that has been put in this campaign so far by the ODM team here in Kisii land, led by His Excellency Governor Ongwae, our women rep, Lira Ba there, Mama Odhiambo from Migori, our senator, and everyone who has been involved in this campaign, including our MCAs. You have done a tremendous job so far in the face of very serious challenges that we have been following very closely. I want to say that we have seen similar efforts by people in the state to influence the results of elections, most recently in Matungu. And the most painful thing is that people know that this party is in a relationship with the Jubilee Party. as the party headquarters, we have tried to insist that in fact we can have healthy competition between our handshake partners without necessarily harming the relationship that exists between the two political parties. But the information we're getting here is that we are being pushed to the wall. I want to say as the SG of this party that if Matungu was a slap in the face, Bonchari is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. We are not going to allow that state resources can be used in order to intimidate, to break up our campaigns, and most ridiculously to even attack our governor in his residence. It is something that is shameful, and we must say that it is shameful. As a party, we are never going to be intimidated by anyone. You will kill us on our feet. I said we will never walk on our knees. You will kill us when we are standing. We will not kneel down for anybody, including these so-called regional kingpins that are being created by the state. So I'm going to read this statement, and then we will take questions from you. This is a statement by the ODM party regarding ongoings in the Bonchari campaigns and the impending by-election on Tuesday. They say desperate times call for desperate measures. As the ODM team and our candidate, Engineer Pavel Oimeke, opens an unassailable lead in the race for Bonchari Constituency National Assembly seat in the by-election to be held on Tuesday, May 18th, desperate and unorthodox responses have been directed at him and the entire ODM campaign team. Yesterday, police wielding guns, truncheons and tear gas stalked the campaign entourage led by Kisii Women Rep, Honorable Janet Ongera, and brutally dispersed at least 4 peaceful town hall meetings. When the MP and leaders accompanying her confronted the police to explain why they were unlawfully trying to disrupt peaceful and lawful democratic processes, they said that they had instructions from their superiors to do so. Later at 8 p.m. last night, armed police under the command of the OCPD raided Governor James Ongwae's residence as the governor was having tea with Senator Ongeri and Honorable Ongera. The governor, being a good host, invited the police boss to join in the tea, to which the officer declined. Asked what his mission was, the OCPD said he had been informed that an unlawful assembly was taking place at the governor's residence, which they had come to disperse. The governor asked that, having ascertained that there was no such meeting, the police chief should withdraw his police contingent, but the latter insisted they would not leave until the 2 legislators had left the governor's residence. The foregoing are not isolated incidences. Last evening, a businessman, Mr. Makori, was arrested on accusation that he was supporting our candidate, Engineer Oimeke. He is currently still in police custody. On May 4th, 2021, the MCA for Riana Ward in Bonchari constituency, Honorable Vincent Moisabi, was arrested and taken all the way to Keroka police station after an altercation with the assistant chief of Bogita sublocation. We have it on authority that as our candidates' meetings were being disrupted, a top national government official was holed up in a secret meeting with senior Ngao operatives at Eco Resort in Bonchari. In the meeting, the following instructions were given to the police: that the officers are to completely disrupt campaign meetings held by the ODM candidate, Honorable Oimeke; that they are to shadow all poll and tallying agents of the ODM candidate and monitor their moves and arrest them if necessary; that they are to arrest all agents and coordinators of the ODM candidate on the eve of the election date, especially anyone linked to Governor Ongwae; that chiefs and Nyumba Kumi leaders and members have been given instructions to start going house to house in their villages, where they will be bribing and trying to instruct voters to vote for the Jubilee candidate. We wish to appeal to the people of Bonchari not to be intimidated. The victory is definitely theirs. These people have already sensed defeat, and you guys have been there before. In 1993, you prevailed and you will prevail again. To those who think that they can become community leaders through brutalization and subjugation of their own people, we wish that they refer to history. As ODM, we have never been cowed, we are not now cowed, and we shall never be cowed.
Yes.
Now, I want to add a point of information that in fact my office, through the executive director of the party, had written a letter to IEBC specifically setting out some of these incidents, including pronouncements by people in the provincial administration, specifically the chiefs, that the government has a candidate in this election. As far as I know, a cabinet secretary is not under our constitution allowed to be a member of any political party. Yes. So you cannot claim that as a cabinet secretary you have a candidate in Bonchari. If you want to be a politician, please take off your cabinet secretary title. Yes. And then kuja ukutane na wanaume na wanawake kwa kiwanja. Lakini mtu ambaye anajificha nyuma ya bunduki, mtu ambaye anajificha nyuma ya kirauni, mtu ambaye anajificha nyuma ya polisi na tear gas, huyo sio mwanasiasa. Huyo sio mwanasiasa. Lazima tuwaambie serikali kwamba wale ambao wameajiriwa na serikali, awe ni waziri, awe ni chifu, awe ni polisi, wajiondoe katika siasa za Bonchari, waache wananchi wa Bonchari wachague mbunge ambao wanataka. Kwa hayo mengi, wacha nimrudishie governor, atajibu maswali ambaye mko nayo, na kama mna yale ambayo mnataka sisi tujibu, tutajibu. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, SG. Thank you very much, SG. I would want to talk in Kisii. Are there, before I ask any questions, are there the ones from Kisii stations, are your things here? So I'll talk in Kisii. Esaba gusiba minte smuaika, especially abagusiba Kisii County, one governor eno James Ongwae. Igonde iga ngichane terero otole no mugaka Professor Samongeri, tole nangina bantu mo county MP Janet Ongera, nindene na omo MP o Migori Pamela Odhiambo, nindene Secretary General ya ODM omo Sikesfuna, nindene Executive Director ODM omo Sikongwen, nindene Timothy Bosire Treasurer ya ODM, ninde n'abaraya ba MCA leader of majority n'aba MCA leader of majority one ne candidate ya ODM nere Pavel Omekeno ara igonta geteko bate abagusi inga chikure kyabo nchali yekorolekana nga abantu mbale batagete guchira ne chinguru ekiagera last night ense ya monenu usu ya botuko igona arenge no mugaka Ongeri na arenge no mongina Janet Ongera na arenge no mu county MP o Migori Muswati Pamela Odhiambo tokolia endagera ya marogoba gusedina igesongo bwone abasikali yanga misini bagacha bagako murangu we entrance bagaswaime bagatebanga igombwate meeting ngao bate bigombwate meeting bakaruwa bagaserio mo Ongeri asoke korubone bagaserio mongina Janet no mo MP o inere asoke korubone nchenta geteko batebiga bagusie smwaika mongete gasi na bakolere gas for 9 years na ende na kolere gas yo indo monto mo ndabu atimangana mange kiara ntagete morembe ga Igese county na kolete gasi enene uno mu permanent secretary in the office of the president na ene nkabo monne bwa balimu egasi na etwe ekiagera twata betigunga omonto monene korwe ministry ya interior oromo gusi ne roba tebetinga bache gagu bache buone igon ntagete ko bateringa nchekero na arenge gasi na arego kole gasi na beta office of the president na bwate chinguru chinene na arenge in charge of personnel management egento na kolete saba gusi es na rekorra gento getabwati monyene abana yagote yo mugusi na twa omugusi nero Kenya kena beto mwalimu abalimu bago kana naringu mone bwa abalimu bago kora kigasi abange mbamanyite ogokonya na rweto ekero omugusi yo itaire gasi igagwenete kogenda iguru arinda abagusi abarigerie ebintu amangana yogocha nkaga igakorete ikwirinde ebintu ebiririe kabiri ebyo n'ebintu ebibe nanto gwente gukana buno omugusi ntagete mbori abanchari omumuro oyo Pamela Omeke togokani gunto mu campaign eria kwani ne kerenta nare bonchari Pamela umekene kerenta nare bonchari. Inche nate biri abanchari nga e candidate yane nande monyigwe. Abangina n'abagaka n'abantu babonchari nkoibora muri abana. Omuibore to mwana osome tore engineer okoro Pavel Oimeke. Tigaye guribaga naenda campaign yo ndatari komurwania atate komurwania. Nkoba akerambi yamono na ene nkoba tayaba gusiba minto gaki ntobwate corona yenero levels yo chire very high iga chire almost 40%. Muisonda abantu bapimwa abantu ange 100 abantu 40 obarwarete. Igo a percentage igere very high nkoba boli kimuranche mu sanitize muabeka chi mask na ende mwa keep distance. Motigare buya na ene nyasa abakonya. Thank you very much. Any questions now? Any questions? Yes. You know, Kisii is a peace-loving people. And you're dealing here with Bonchari is a fairly cosmopolitan constituency because Bonchari is the only constituency in this country, in this county, that has actually got all the Kisiis. Everybody has bought land in Bonchari, people have built there, and those are very peace-loving people. They are not stupid. They are extremely intelligent, and anybody who thinks that they would use state resources in the final hours to give people so that people are paid in order to vote for somebody, I think they should think twice because those are extremely intelligent people. As for the intimidation was unnecessary. Like the Secretary General has indicated, you can have friendly fire. The two candidates are doing fairly well on their own right, and they are handshake candidates. So whoever would have won should not have worried the handshake fraternity. So we should have allowed friendly fire. What has now happened is you have made people like the governor of Kisii County who is talking here, who doesn't like this type of talk. For 9 years, you have never had me talk like this. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And I have been left with absolutely no option other than to do what I've done. And I want to indicate that if this continues, I will not stop here.
Yes. Yes. To the IEBC. Yes. You know, in the usual manner of see no evil, hear no evil that has characterized the leadership of Wafula Chebukati, he wrote to us a response throwing the responsibility of reining in these rogue state officers to the office of a DPP. We do believe that offenses that are happening in the context of a by-election should be handled at his level as the chair of the IBC. And Madam Ongera has said here, in fact, we want to leave this press conference and go and see the returning officer for Bonchari. Let him or her tell us whether we will have an election on Tuesday or not. Yeah. So that if we are not allowed to campaign, then really they should tell us that there is no election on Tuesday. Yeah. We have conducted more than a dozen elections under these COVID circumstances. We did Msambweni very well. We conducted by-elections in Matungu. Why is Bonchari different? Why is Bonchari different? And by the way, even in those areas, we have cabinet secretaries. It's just that those cabinet secretaries are not in charge of the guns. And that is why the CS here has taken advantage of his docket and pointing the guns at people who are essentially his friends. So we have to say, and say categorically, that it is the responsibility of the IEBC. Use of state resources is an election offense. And it is the responsibility of the IEBC to rein in on electoral offenses. We want to say on record that in the event that the results of these elections are affected by the conduct of the police, by the conduct of the CS, then we as ODM will not accept those results. We will not accept those results. And I have said, and I want to repeat, we as a party have been faithful in the journey that we have taken together with our friends in Jubilee. we raised concerns about the conduct of the state in Matungu, which is what I want to call a slap in the face. If they do the same in Bonchari, it is the straw that will break the camel's back. Sawa sawa?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Jeff.